Hi, welcome. I'm Summer. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. I'm glad you're here. How's everybody been doing? I know I myself have been pretty busy. We just got back from Mohican State Park. We did the Mohican Adventure. We went rafting, we went kayaking, all the works, camping as well. It was a good time. I actually have a video on it if you guys want to check that out. It's on Summer Paradise. I have a bunch of different things on there. So today I want to go over the Chris Watt case. It has been out for a while, but there's actually new stuff going on. He is saying a little bit different things now. So 2018, Chris Watts admits to killing his wife, Shanann Watts, and his 2 daughters in Colorado. Since then, he has actually been in prison. But now he is saying a little bit different. So to go over this a little bit, Chris Watts and Shanann Watts, they met in 2010 and they actually got married November 3rd, 2012. The couple then had 2 daughters. They had Bella and then they had Celeste. And at the time that this big incident happened, Shanann Watts, she was actually 15 weeks pregnant with a boy that would have been named Nico. They actually lived in a 5-bedroom house in Frederick, Colorado. Family declared bankruptcy in 2015, and Chris Watts, he actually worked at a oil rig company, and Shanann, she worked from home working for a company that sold products like Thrive. August 13th, 2018, Shanann came back from a business trip from Arizona. Her colleague dropped her off in the morning. Chris Watts was actually the one that was watching Shanann and his daughters while Shanann was on this business trip.
Her shoes she wears every single day right in the front door.
The police body cam video shows Chris Watts arriving home. Imagine his surprise at finding cops already at his house. He had just disposed of the bodies of his wife and children in an oil storage facility where he worked.
Nobody's heard from her, nobody's seen.
Later this day, Shanann is reported missing by the colleague, the friend that dropped her off that morning, because Shanann did not go to a appointment that she was supposed to go to, and she did not call this friend back. Or after this happens, the friend comes to the house to actually check on Shanann, and when she knocks, she gets no answer. When she tries to call, she gets no answer. So when this happens, she actually calls Chris Watts and lets him know that she's not getting a response from Shanann. And he says, I'm at work right now, let me just try to get a hold. Chris Watts, he actually calls the Frederick police, and the Frederick police come in and they do a welfare check to see if Shanann's okay, to see if she's home, to see if the kids are okay. During this time, Chris Watts is there with the police, because then he gives the police permission to come in and search the house. The police come in, they do not find anything. They find that the dog is actually unharmed, he's fine, but they do not find Shanann or his 2 daughters. The police actually discover that Shanann's purse is still there, her keys are still there, her phone is still there in the house, and still no sign of Shanann or the kids. Shanann's car was still there as well, with the girls' 2 car seats in the back. They also found Shanann's wedding ring on her bedside. Christopher Watts talked to the investigators and said that the last time that he seen his wife was at 5:15 that day, and that he had no idea where she could be. He actually even talked to the news people, 2 different news companies.
What's going on right now around your house?
Right now you got K9 units, the sheriff's department. Everybody's they're doing their best right now to figure out if they can get a scent, see where they went. If they went on foot, they went in a car, or they went somewhere. And right now it's just they've been on point. They're going through the house trying to get a scent, and hopefully they can pick something up to where it's going to lead to something.
What happened?
She came home from the airport 2 a.m. and I left around 5:15. She was still here, and like about 12:10 in that afternoon, her friend Nicole showed up at the door. Like I had texted Shanann a few times that day, called her, say but she never got back to me. But she wasn't getting back to any of her people as well, and that's what really concerned a lot of people. Is like if she's not getting back to her, like if she doesn't get back to me, that's fine. Like she gets busy during the day. But she didn't get back to her people, which was very concerning. And Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home. And then walked in the house, and nothing was vanished. Nothing was here. I mean, she wasn't here. The kids weren't here. Nobody was here.
What's your wife's name?
Shanann, Shanann.
What's your kids' name?
Bella and Celeste.
How do you spell Celeste?
Celeste.
How old are your daughters?
4, and Bella's 4, Celeste is 3.
And so, how many times did you try calling her?
I called her 3 times, texted her about 3 times just to say, what's going on. Like because after I called her and texted her once, it's like maybe she was just busy. Like she had just gotten back. Like everybody's probably calling her from her trip.
2018, the FBI does a search for Shanann Watts and her 2 daughters, and Chris Watts does a polygraph test, and he fails this polygraph test miserably. Chris Watts actually confessed to his father first, and then he confesses to authorities saying that he did kill Shanann because she was smothering the 2 daughters. Chris Watts says that the reason why she would have been smothering the 2 daughters is because he initially said that he wanted a separation from Shanann. Chris Watts says that he strangled Shanann out of a fit of rage because of his 2 daughters, and he took her body and the 2 daughters' bodies to a oil field rig that he worked at, and he put Shanann's body in a shallow grave, and then he put his 2 daughters, Celeste and Bella, into the actual oil rig itself. Authorities had Chris mark on a photo where the bodies exactly were, and authorities went to the spot that Chris Watts said that they were, and they found the 2 bodies of his daughter in the oil rig, and they found his wife, Shanann Watts, in a shallow grave in the nearby area. On August 21st, Watts was actually charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, including an additional 1 count per child cited, as death of a child who had not yet attained 12 years of age, and the defendant was in a position of trust, unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body. By the day of his arrest, Chris Watts was fired from his job, which, I mean, of course he was. Why would you want somebody working there that buried their family in your company areas? On November 29th, the Colorado authorities actually released surveillance of Chris Watts and him getting into his vehicle, his truck, and they say that this day was when they think that he took the bodies to the oil company area, because Shanann came in the morning after her business trip from Arizona, and she never came out of the house. So this guy killed his whole family, and he is now in prison. I never did say anything about his lover, Nicole Kessinger. Nicole Kessinger was his lover that he met when he was employed at the oil place. And the things that I have heard is many things, but I'm going to say just like the simple things. He supposedly didn't tell Nicole Kessinger that he was ever married, and then Nicole Kessinger changed it and said that he said that they were getting a divorce. And honestly, I mean, she does matter because that's his lover, but she has not gotten anything for this crime because there's nothing that has actually proved that she's done anything. Nicole Kessinger was his lover and is pretty much the reason why he got rid of his family, unfortunately. She had been dating Chris Watts for a few months before that. She claims that she did not really know that they were still married, that Chris Watts and Shanann Watts were still married. She thought that he was actually divorcing her. Since Watts has been in prison since 2018, Kessinger has not been in the media eye. She's kind of just disappeared, and they say that they think that she relocated, she's changed her name, which I would too, because if she really is innocent, she wants to stay far away from that. Police say that she has nothing to do with it. There's a lot of things out there that say differently. Her phone pinged in the same town as Shanann Watts and Chris Watts. She lived about 25 minutes away at the time. So why was she in the same town at that time? Because it was in the early mornings when this all happened. There's footage of Chris Watts leaving in his truck. This isn't a fact, but this is what I've heard, of course. There's some speculation that she's in recordings. I don't know if that's true. It's just what I've read. I've been following this for a very long time. But now Chris Watts is actually saying differently. He was fully all about that she had nothing to do with it. Well, now it's changed a little bit. Now Watts is seeming to put the blame on Kessinger. He's saying that she is the Mistress Jezebel. He does journals to write to God, I guess, and he puts, quote unquote, this is what he says. He says, he is a sheep gone astray from the flock and fallen into a pit, and how his enemy has entrapped him. The words of the harlot has brought him low. The words of a harlot has brought him low. That he did not see the blessings right in front of him. That he followed the perfume of a strange woman. He goes on to say that the Lord has opened his eyes and his ears and not condemned him. Watts actually had a roommate in prison at one point, and his name was Dylan Talman. They were making a book together. Well, at one point, Chris Watts, he backs out of this, but Dylan Talman, he continued with this book and he actually published it. It's called The Cell Next Door. And in this book, it claims that Watts says, Kessinger said, it's either me or it's your family, and that this was the night of the murders that happened. So what do I think about this? I think Chris Watts is in a very lucky position right now. I mean, he's protected. Most people in his position that, they kill their family when they kill children, anything like that, they end up getting hurt very badly or they end up dead in prison. And his whole religion thing that he's turned to, I think it is, it's a way to make people sorry for him. I think it's possibly part of some kind of agenda that he has. Maybe he thinks he's going to get out. He thinks God has forgiven him for this. Easy for him to say. He's trying to play victim.
Going home?
Waiting to board our flight to Miami, and then we're gonna fly all the way back home to see our girls in Denver. So we're super excited. It's been a wonderful, amazing experience this week. Lavelle definitely outdid themselves. Literally, this place has been paradise. We do have our Thrive Cafe. He came in finally. Say hi, Bella.
Hi.
Huh.
Hi, Mama. Hi.
Hi. Okay, so they wanted to join us.
He's not the victim. He's where he needs to be. let's not give support to this guy. I know I'm hearing that he's getting letters from people, he's getting letters from women, he's got girlfriends. I think he should have nothing, and I think if he's going to be protected, I think he should have to look at the wall all day. And there's no death penalty put on him. What do you guys think about this? I mean, I know this case it's 2018, and I know he's been in prison, but the fact that now he's saying that Kessinger is part of it, and he didn't say this before, it's an update. If you're still here, I'm glad. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for listening. There's just some weird stuff. But stay safe out there. Don't talk to strangers.